Welcome to our Transformation Tuesday call. Tonight we're talking about from fear to faith. And I wanted to look up what the tagline was. Your next level is one bold move away. I like that. So if you guys want to follow along the document that we have,
Oh,
it's in the chat.
okay,
But
good.
yeah, I really like the tagline on this one. Your next level is one bold move away. From fear to faith, where do you want to start?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was just listening to a podcast about this where it's always about that first step, right? Whatever it is that you want to go for, it's just a movement. And I know that we've been talking a lot about this lately. Mostly, like, I think our theme was like motivation and movement. It's all about making a decision, and one small little decision might not feel that like major, but it takes a lot of courage to take that first step, even if it's just a little like first time you have a conversation with someone that might be in the industry you want to get into or does something that you're interested in, like just getting over that little bit of fear of talking to somebody about something you don't really know much about. That takes a lot of courage. So just trusting yourself enough to move in the direction that you want to go and knowing that you've made a choice that is for your higher good. And I think there's a lot of power in that. And I feel like because, like we were just talking about, life moves so fast, we don't take the time to give ourselves the credit for that.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
hope,
point.
yeah, I hope that today we can talk a little bit about maybe some moves that people forgot they made or some things that didn't feel like a big deal and then turned into something big because it all has lasting effects, like ripple effects, basically.
That's a good point too. I feel like you said things that you might not even notice as a big change. I think that's applicable to a lot of things. And it's funny because people, if you're not talking to other people, you don't even realize like sometimes it just takes that conversation with an outside party or perspective, somebody that you can trust, somebody that knows you well, that can be like pointing out the things that you might be overlooking. And a lot of times, too, it's that fear of a lot of things, fear of the unknowns or feeling like we're inadequate, limiting beliefs, all this stuff, where when you start to notice or add up the little things that you're accomplishing, you can have faith in what you're doing and understanding that, like, I am improving. I am, even though I may not have seen it, sometimes it just takes that conversation with other people to be able to see what you don't see.
It's true. That perspective. Yeah.
That's a good one. What was the other example you said?
Of
There's
like having oh, I think I said conversations with people who are doing what you want to do. I don't remember, to be fair.
no worries.
Yeah, feeling the need to be ready is, and I have it written here as a myth, but I legitimately, we always feel like I can't do this until I'm ready. You're
Hmm.
never going to be ready. There's literally no such thing of feeling like completely ready because your mind is always going to come up with a reason why you're not. Just rooted in that little bit of fear of trying something new because we're so resistant to that. Like our mind likes predictability. And really, I should say our subconscious mind likes predictability, like that ego wants to know that if I can predict what's going to happen, then I can keep you safe. And that's like literally its entire job is to keep you safe. And often safe means small and comfortable. And that's
Hmm.
not, neither of those are a catalyst to change or new things or getting to where you want to get to. So feeling this need to be ready is just I feel like a lie we tell ourselves. Like you're ready when you say you are.
Think too, it's that like when people put that limiting belief on them, whether it's something new that they want to try, whatever it might be, sometimes we're so quick to get into our heads of, I don't know enough, I could keep learning or there's more to it. But I think if, like you said,
Endless.
yeah, you're always going to have something to grow or to learn or to add to your repertoire or whatever. But if you just start doing it, you start to realize that there are people that are not as far as you are in any topic, whatever that you might be passionate about or something that, you think could be impactful for people. You may not be an expert, so to speak, on it, but you know more than somebody, and that's worth sharing to those people.
For sure. And I feel like there's people forget that there's two ways of learning, right? Like you can learn by absorbing information, and then you can learn by doing. And learning by doing is going to get you further because you're already doing it. So you might as well just do it and learn as
Hmm.
you go. And it's only feels scary because we put that expectation on ourselves that I'll start doing when I know. And it's like, no, you'll learn as you go and as you do. And applying things is always gonna, I feel like, stick in your mind better. Like you're gonna really learn that lesson. You're gonna really learn how to do something when you're actively doing it versus reading about it. Imagine if, I know they practice on animals, so it's not ideal for the goodness of the world, but imagine if surgeons just read books about surgery and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna come slice you open today. And you're like, did you haven't practiced on anything? So you have to learn by doing. And that's where you for sure can get over a lot of that discomfort of the unknown because you just did
Hmm.
it. And once you did it, you're like, oh shit, that wasn't that hard. I could have been doing that the whole time. And it's not until you do that a few times where you can get over yourself and be like, whatever it is, I'm going to figure it out because I did it last time.
So
And
then,
then
yeah,
the
go ahead.
next, I just went through the domino effect of the bold moves because, like I said, once you start doing it, you're just like, this isn't that crazy. And there's always, I feel like you grow in the boldness that you're trying to accomplish, right? So each next level is going to have some little bit of fear, some little bit of hesitation of, okay, I mean, I know I did that, but that was so much easier than this. Can I actually do this? And this is again where I feel like journaling is huge because if you can take the time to read back to the same exact feeling you had back then, thinking whatever it was that you were trying to do back then was such a monumental thing, such a huge move. And now it looks so small, it gives you that perspective to say, oh, maybe this is the same situation where even though it seems massive, it's probably not once I get into it and once I take that first step. And then by doing, you can build that self-trust. Like I said, I feel like my motto has always been like, I'll figure it out, whatever it is. Like I got me and I will figure it out. And even if I suck at it and I look silly, I'm gonna try. And the only people who laugh at people trying are people not trying. And so what do I care about what the people not trying have to say about me trying? So
That's a good one. So when you think of like fear, you can feel fear in multiple things, right? So it could be something that's like a financial fear, like centered around career-wise, work stuff. But it could also be like fear in the physical, like trying something new. It's funny because been not on a kick necessarily, but I was also listening to a podcast earlier this week, and it was a Mel Robbins podcast, and she had some doctor on there. I forget her name, but she was talking about how in society we're led to believe that it's inevitable for us as we age to lose our mobility and our muscle and whatever. And she was like, you're in complete control of that. If you start, especially now, but there's people that you could be in your 60s, 70s. It's never too late to start if you just start implementing little things. And it can be as simple as taking a walk every day or doing different things. But going back to the fear side of it, I feel like as humans, like you said, we're naturally wired to want that comfort and predictability. And we also, though, I feel like everybody has a certain dream or wish or like picture that they have for their life that they can accomplish, but maybe they put it on the back burner. Like they think, oh, that's too good to be true. Oh, that could never happen. That could never be me. But I think anybody is capable of accomplishing whatever they put their mind to. And it really is that fear that kind of holds us back, even just from giving it a try. But all the things that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks of surrounding yourself with the right circle, or like you said, journaling, like all these different things, it's interesting because people don't necessarily think to take the time to really analyze what they want out of life or what is it that what are you here for? What do you want to do? You know, it's easy to get into a mundane of, I guess this is what my Monday through Friday looks like. I guess this is all that life has to offer me. But I don't know. Yeah, how do you encourage people to think outside the box or explore those different things. And I think it really is just a matter of getting people to start talking about it more.
Agreed. And I think a big part of it is like literally who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people who are just cool, going to work every day, coming home, eating the same shit, watching the same shit, and doing that every single day, and then every once in a while they do something like break out of their shitty routine that they don't love or are comfortable, and maybe they love it because they're comfortable. But if you surround yourself with those people, then you're not going to feel the encouragement or the bravery by osmosis by being around people who are willing to try different things or live differently. Having
Hmm.
people who are willing to just be weird and or unconventional gives you this sense of they can do it and people still like them. I like them and our friends like them. So like why can't I try that? Or why can't I do that one little thing that I've been thinking about doing? That is such a huge impact on your life. I was just reading, or it was on a podcast I was watching. Alex Hermosi was talking about it. Apparently, the quote of you are the five people that you surround yourself with the most, you're the product of that, is actually been like misquoted this entire time. It's actually the five people that you compare yourself the most to. But
Hmm.
that tends to be the people you surround yourself with. But if it's, let's say you spend a lot of time with your mom, but you're not really comparing yourself to your mom, she doesn't really count. It's more like the people you want to like aspire to be. So that could be somebody you don't even know. Like it's just someone that you've been watching or paying attention to who may be like a mentor that doesn't even know they're your mentor or whatever. That person's going to have such an influence on your life, then you're going to start making different changes. And it all goes back to that whole like 5 minute mile. I might be misquoting that. Maybe no one runs 5 minutes in a mile, like 5 minute miles. Maybe it's
No,
nine
yeah.
minute mile,
I
whatever it
think,
is. Once you know it's possible, you feel differently about what you're capable of. Before that
mhm.
was possible, no one even tried it. So it's the same concept of if you're around people who seem average, doing things that are outside of the norm, then you might feel more confident to do that. If you start reading books that are inspirational, listening to podcasts that make you start thinking outside the box and outside of what you think is you're supposed to be your story, then you might feel more confident to try to do different things.
Yeah,
And they don't
anyone.
have to be like monumental things. Like jumping out of a plane is pretty huge, but what if you just went to the movies by yourself? Or what if you went to a different class than you think you're capable of? You're used to going to like the lower, whatever it is, like just trying one little thing that's slightly different, it becomes infectious, I feel like.
Yeah, I want to hear from somebody else. Anyone else have something to add to all of that?
You guys know I'm gonna add.
Yeah.
Good
Um,
girl.
this is big for me because I literally live in fear with everything I do. Everything
So
I do.
I don't know you at all, and I think that's interesting because you don't sound like a scaredy cat person.
So I'm adventurous a little bit, but Jackie knows. I just there's some things I just have difficulty just doing because I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm already thinking about what the outcome can be and what ifs. And I think of everything that can go wrong instead of thinking about everything that can go right. And I don't like to think of it as a pessimist, thinking negatively all the time. I like to think of it as a realist because some people go in and they think the negativity is just that. No, it's not always negative. It's just, hey, this can happen. And I was taught something younger and it stuck with me. And it's like, it was what is it? No, it'll come to me. It was something like expect the worst, hope for the best.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That way you're never disappointed when the worst happens because you knew that was a possibility. So this one, like I said, this one hits home. The faith to fear. I still am. I have a tattoo that I'm getting with the faith over the fear fraction sign kind of thing.
Mm,
Moving to Florida, whew, I was 30 years old. I had my family my entire life up north. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I pumped my chest out about it so many times. So when the time came, I'm like, fuck, I got to actually do this. Like, I can't back out now. I had an entire anxiety attack the day I was moving, but I did it. And it was the most scariest thing ever. And the best things were on the other side of that. And
Mm.
that's something else I learned was that fear thing. It's just an emotion, but you got to get rid of it because literally the best things are usually always on the other side of fear. So I'm still working on that, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Some experience that I had, like I said, moving down to Florida. But I'm always scared of the what ifs, and even like in real estate, trying to jump into a deal. It's like, what if I screw this up? What if you do? Yo, what's the worst that could happen? You did it though. And I have a whole group of peers who've gotten to know me and they know my knowledge and what I can do and what I can possibly they probably know me better than I what I'm capable of. Not
I hear it. People can see your potential more than you can
exactly.
at
I
times.
put my
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I put myself so they're like, just do it. I'm like, oh, you don't understand. They're like, no, you don't understand, just do it. I have my own peers telling me that. So I'm working on that. I'm working on that a lot lately. But this is an interesting,
I
very interesting topic.
Yeah, and I would, instead of looking at your worst case scenario brain as a negative thing, because I am so that person. I'm more of like a full range. Like I will look at what's best case, mid case, and worst case. But when you get to that worst case, ask yourself, and then what? Let's say you do a deal and you lose all of your money. And then what? You're gonna figure it out, right? Because you always have. You can make
Yeah.
more money. You know what I'm saying? So like, and then what? Let's say you go somewhere and people look at you funny. Okay. And then what? Who
Yeah.
cares? You're gonna figure it out. So just follow that through. Don't just stop at the worst case scenario. What if I lose all my money? Like, that's not the end of the world. You're gonna make more money. You're
Yeah.
gonna find another deal. You're gonna learn something massive so you don't lose more money later. Because later down hindsight, when you're doing much bigger deals, you're gonna be like, damn, I'm really glad I lost my money on that first one and not this one or that,
Yeah, absolutely. Everything, yep, works itself out. I think it's more of a character and into the person kind of thing. I saw a video, actually, my mom sent it to me. And it was the most, I died laughing for 10 minutes last night. She sends me a video, and this lady goes, my husband woke me up early, said he was going out, whatever, to do something. So whatever. She's like, I said, I'm tired. I'm going to stay in bed. So then she says she gets up. She notices where he was going was the golf king or something. The golf cart was still there. His cell phone is there. So there's two different kind of people, right? There's that person that right away, she had me cracking up because she's like, oh my God, should I start planning his funeral? So she right away jumps to what could have happened. Is he okay? Is he in the hospital? Should I pick out the casket now? Or should I get on Facebook dating? She had me rolling. But it's just, she's like, I thought all of that in 30 seconds.
Our
Just
mind is
laugh.
magic.
Oh my God.
If you think about that, imagine what you could have done that 30 seconds if you went the other direction.
So then there's that other person that will wake up and the same scenario will happen. And they'll be like, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's somewhere, and that's it. That was the only thought they got about it. And they kept it moving. But then everybody was in the comments like, yeah, no, most of us women, and I don't want to speak for other women, but a lot of women had commonality with her and how within 30 seconds she thought everything. So funny. But I think it goes more to like the character of the kind of person and breaking that habit of how you are built to think. Or maybe it's from past traumas, or maybe it's from things you see, or I don't know. I
Programming.
think it's, yeah, programming. You hit it right on the money. Yeah. So that's what I think.
It's
Yeah.
interesting, even just hearing you talk about your experience with moving to Florida, because I think that's a big part of it too, is that most of the time, I think fear is an emotion that we don't necessarily understand completely. We think so negative of it, but there's a connotation to it that sometimes it's showing you that like you're fearful because you don't know a lot of things. Like she was saying, like the what lied on the other side of that experience. And there's tons of people that have been in that situation with that specific thing of moving who just never decided to take that jump to go and see that new place. And I don't think I know there's people that have moved and it hasn't been a great experience, but they get something out of that regardless. And it's like that fear can be applied to anything, but it's just showing you that you're human, that you're excited. I mean, it's a lot of emotions at once. I feel like fear gets a bad rap,
The fear of the unknown. There's
but it's
people
a
who live in the state their entire lives. They want to
yep.
see the rest of the world, the rest of the state, but they will never move from where they're at.
And there's so much that comes with that, figuring yourself out, building things, making a different name for yourself, like all these things that can be accomplished with changing your environment. But yeah, I just think about like how we were talking about with anything, you feel this fear because you want to stay in the, what was the word you used, Monica?
Comfort zone.
No, the,
Oh.
dang it.
The program? No.
It
Oh,
was
you're
a P.
programming?
No, it was a P word though, but I forgot what you said, but something that how like things are already planned out. I lost it.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I just lost my whole thought, guys. Sorry.
Mm.
That's hilarious.
It's one of those days. I can't remember what I said 5 minutes ago. So that's just where we're at.
But yeah, it's just it's interesting that the fear, it's showing you that there's something that you're interested in with that thing. And because your body wants what is, I wish I knew what the word was because that's where it's supposed to go. But
Dang.
it wants that, like,
Paradigm?
no, but it wants the comfort's another way to say it, but just knowing that what it's used to, it's like, okay, I'm good here. But when we're talking again about you get those visions or those ideas of things that you do want in your life, and you're totally capable of getting them, but that fear is like holding you back. But that fear should be what's pushing you forward. If you feel that feeling of fear, know that there is a reason that you should see how you can explore that because you never know what lies on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually one of our exercises is like reframing it from I'm afraid to I'm excited to, because there literally is just like a tiny degree difference between fear and excitement. And I think it was a book I was reading that was literally just re-say what you're thinking you're afraid of with I'm excited too, and see how your entire body feels differently, because that tightness that you're feeling is not that different from that excitement that you feel when you're excited. That just like energy. So reframing it from I'm afraid to go move to Florida to I'm excited to see what happens when I move to Florida. Because you don't know, and neither of them you don't know what's going to happen when you're excited about something new, and you don't know what's going to happen when you're afraid of something new. So if you are able to just keep reframing it to I'm excited to find out what happens, you might find that you have a lot more energy moving towards it than you would if you're afraid.
Yeah, that's a good reframing. I like how you said that too. The two emotions are very similar, and it really is just a matter of how you look at them.
Yeah. Does
Okay.
anyone have a story of when they were afraid of something that actually ended up being like just something really exciting and fun?
I don't have a story about that. I was just going to say that I've heard the same thing where it's the physiological response of your body is the same, whether it's excitement or fear. And it's up to you to decide the perspective of what you want to look at it. So I tell people all the time when they're joining real estate, because I think a lot of times, obviously, a big career jump like that, people are super anxious because they're giving up a lot of consistent money oftentimes. And so I work with them
Comfort.
all the time and I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, the thing is, I get that you're like anxious about it. I was like, but at the same time, you're excited. And I say that all the time where I'm like, it's the same physiological response. So you just have to retrain yourself to look at it from the perspective of being excited rather than fearful.
Yeah. You
I
choose
like
the
that.
path.
I'm trying to think of a story.
Were you
Uh,
afraid to skydive at all?
don't get me wrong. Yeah, I would say yes, but
Yeah.
I feel like because of not only was I surrounded by a bunch of people who it was also their first time, then
Mm-hmm.
also knowing people that were going to be jumping on their own for the first time, I was like, well, if they're jumping on their own, like I can freaking just fall out of a plane with somebody strapped to my back who's doing all the work. So it made it easier, but it's funny because I'm pretty sure we were invited again to do it again for free. And I had told
Oh,
Brad, I was like, oh yeah, when the weather's nice. And then he like hit me, okay, whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, we'll find a day, whatever. And I was just like, I'm cool if that. He's like, it's gonna expire at the end of the month. And I was like, and it expired. So we never did it again.
Wait, you're telling me that new people, the first time jump, had the option
no,
of doing it
they
by
can't.
themselves?
Oh,
These
they had put
people,
in hours and
yeah, they
hours.
trained for it.
Oh, I was like, who would
Yeah, yeah.
decide to do that?
You legally can't.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but just knowing that because it's still even when you that's a perfect example because they're training on like a box on the floor, right? They're like, oh, practicing this is my, whatever. But imagine actually taking that first jump out of the plane on your own. Oof, that was all I could think about was like, that's a different thing right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Agreed.
It's funny that you use that as the example because I can't remember where I heard it before, but there's a somebody, I don't know if they're like credible or not, but somebody had once mentioned something to me. It's really challenging for a lot of people to skydive specifically like a second time because part of your brain is so excited about the unknown and figuring out what
Mm,
that looks like that you excite yourself into it and explore that. But then as soon as you know it, you can't actually override that fear factor. You're almost like stuck in like that kind of anxious state.
mm.
Interesting.
That was me.
Yeah, for
Uh-huh.
Yeah? You
Uh-huh.
wouldn't go again?
Look, it's real.
No,
If
no, no,
Ray
no.
says it's real, it's real.
Or when we
It's
went, that was your
when we
second
went, that
time?
was my second time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a great experience my first time. I did it, I was like 21. Somebody gave it to me. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go skydive for free. And it was great. No issues. This second time, I don't know if I had told you guys about this. I definitely told Jackie, but I couldn't breathe on the way down.
I remember.
Yeah, air was like getting into my face holes. I couldn't
Orifices.
exit.
Those orifices.
Yeah. But even like on the way up, I was like, I've done this before. I'm feeling the physiological responses. I'm already up here. There's no way I'm not doing it. And then I jump out of the plane and I'm like choking on the air. I made it though.
Oh, I know. I saw. I saw. We all made it. We all made it somehow. No, it's exactly that same like concept of my fear just switched to excitement because of the environment. And once I did the math of this person is willingly strapping themselves to my body to jump out of this plane, like he doesn't look like he wants to die today. So I think I'll be all right. And I can also totally understand the complete different situation of having to jump out by yourself because I didn't jump out of that plane. I was attached to someone who jumped out of that plane. I didn't do anything. Whether or not I wanted to, at that point I was going. And so I think I can see how going a second time would be different because maybe I'm just lying. This whole time, anytime someone asks me like, oh my God, you skydived? Like, that's crazy. Would you go again? And my answer is always like, nah. I didn't think it was that fun, to be fair. I really didn't. The
I will
most fun was
say,
sitting in the plane with y'all and being like, that was the most fun. Just looking at each other. Are you scared? I'm scared. Are you scared? I'm terrified. That was the most fun of the whole thing. And then once we landed, we're like, holy shit, we're alive. But the actual experience of falling out of the sky, meh.
I will say I'd rather jump out of a plane than go on a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
Dog, you're wild for that.
That's insane.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, yeah, and Monica, yeah, no, because Liz, have you skydived?
That
No,
doesn't even
but
make sense, Jackie.
no, I haven't yet, but I really want to go. And my mom and I are trying to go this year for our birthdays. So Noah said he'll sit on the ground with my dad and drink beer. So it'll be great.
Oh my
I
God.
love it.
You have a
Go somewhere where it's pretty.
Yeah.
Because where we
Yeah.
skydived was just like,
That
nah.
was another thing too. I was like, do I really want to jump out and not really see anything again? Like,
I feel like that's something I could see myself liking though. So I feel like I'd do the first jump local where there's really nothing exciting, like in Orange County.
Okay.
But I think I'd do
Yeah.
something cool later on where I could feel like if I were to land wrong, at least it's all grass, not like water here, water there, trees there.
You do know that the fall from the sky is a lot higher than the one from a roller coaster, right? Just in case.
it's a
Like,
different feeling though.
It's
And
a totally different feeling.
As Jackie's
I
husband,
hate roller coasters.
I feel more comfortable with Jackie jumping out of a plane than being on a roller coaster.
I
Jackie gets so tense on these roller coasters, and she's just the whole time.
Aww.
And I don't know how she doesn't black out. If she does black out, then I don't see
Just
it.
doesn't tell you.
literally
Yeah.
the last time we were at an amusement park, the next day, it literally felt like I was in a car accident. Like it was bad.
She had put herself into a ball on one of the worst roller coasters to do that. So like her head was sticking outside of the like where you're
No.
I can't
and
relax. I'm
and
like,
there was like some G forces on that roller
Mhm.
coaster. So at least her neck didn't break.
my God.
Yes.
That's funny. The most daring thing I did was I paraglided off of the Colorado mountains, about
That
3,500.
is
Cool.
That
so
sounds awesome.
cool.
That was
That
fun.
sounds way cooler than skydiving.
It was. I won't skydive because that's free fall and my heart can't handle that. I'm pretty sure I
Wait,
won't.
isn't
I'd die in there.
parasailing free falling?
I did parasailing in Hawaii. That's different. I did paragliding
Oh.
in Colorado.
Paragliding sounds more
Paragliding.
dangerous.
Way
It's
more
not.
dangerous.
Are
It's
you
not.
are you driving
Aren't
it
you alone?
yourself? Yeah.
No, it's not alone. You're attached to
Oh,
someone, and
okay.
it's a soft depart and it's a soft landing.
Oh, that sounds
Uh,
cool.
That sounds
Yeah.
real nice.
It was amazing.
Because skydiving is like painful. My
But
did
there's
not
no
feel good
rush.
for days.
Oh man.
I'm not
Yeah.
skydiving. You couldn't pay me to
That was
skydive.
not a good. My ears were jacked up. My nose was jacked up from all the air, like Ray. But my guy was really adamant about shut your mouth. At one point, I was like, I didn't say anything, and he was like, "Shut your mouth," and I was like, "What? I thought he was telling me to be quiet." I'm like, "I didn't say anything." He was like, "You have to breathe through your nose. You're gonna stop breathing." And I was like, "Oh shit."
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, it was. I would definitely would do parasailing.
Oh,
I didn't
shut
know
your
that.
mouth. I thought he was just being rude. Now I get it.
I see. I did too.
I was like,
So
why
I
is he
kept
telling you
looking
to
at.
shut up?
Exactly. No, if you breathe, if you have your
I
mouth
get it.
open, the air
Okay.
will come in and you won't be able to breathe.
Hmm.
Nobody told
Wow.
me that. And then I'm like, oh, I'm
See.
gonna open my mouth and have the cool lip action. And yeah. And
It
then
did not happen that
there I
way.
was on the brink
No, suffocating.
yeah.
Dang. Poor
Have
guy
y'all
did not
ever been
look
on
out.
like have y'all ever done the water slides where the platform drops out from underneath your feet and you basically shoot straight down?
No,
No.
Okay, so
that sounds
there's
terrible.
okay, so it's okay, I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. But
Don't you get water up your nose?
so that okay, that's what I was gonna say. So I've done it two different parks, and the one time I did it, it was perfectly fine. Like the floor drops out, and you basically shoot straight downward, but then it turns into like twisty slide thing that normally happens, and so you slow down and you hit the water like perfectly fine. The other place was a little janky, I guess. I don't know. But we went, me, Noah, and Jeremy all went, and that's Noah's brother for people who don't know who that is. But we all went, and we all were racing on it, and something about that particular angle that we went down, it literally shot water straight up your nose. And you basically got waterboarded for the first 15 seconds of the ride. And all of us got to the bottom. We were like, did you guys just almost die? Or like, was that just me? Like, it was terrible.
That's awful.
Yeah, no,
And
would
it
not
happened to all
recommend
of
it at
you?
that place. Oh, yeah, apparently every single one of us had that happen. And I felt super bad because I convinced them to go on the ride. And I was like, I promise the other places are not like that.
That's hilarious.
Amazing. Amazing. So
Uh,
all of y'all have conquered fears. It's not we can do
yeah,
scary things.
Ray, what's your thoughts on this topic?
Oh,
So I have two bigger ones, and they were all touched on pretty much, but I'll touch them again.
Lots of
Um,
touching.
yeah. So I guess more recently, you guys were talking about using your language to essentially change your state. So Tony Robbins, he has, I forgot what it's exactly what it's called, but it's the three elements of your emotional state, and that's your physiology, your focus, and your language. So doing what you were talking about, Monica, saying, "Oh, I'm having these physiological reactions that are associated with the fear." But I'm going to call it excitement because it's only a degree off. Okay. And then so you're changing your focus and you're changing your language. You say, hey, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see what happens out of this. You're putting yourself in a more, and not only a useful state, but a more resourceful state and you're more willing to take action from that state. Using that formula, you can hack any state that you want. And I think that's definitely a useful concept, especially when it comes to fear. And then the second thing is, I don't know if you guys have read the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways or heard of it. It's by
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne Jeffer. But her whole thing is like, yeah, you feel the fear and do it anyways. But what you're doing is you're focusing on, like what you were saying earlier, Monica, what happens after. If you know that whatever thing that you're walking into, you are going to survive it. You're going to be okay after. You can go into that situation with the confidence that, yeah, maybe this chunk is going to be more uncomfortable than this chunk on this side and this chunk on this side, but I can figure it out. This, you can weigh the risk and reward of whatever you're doing. Temporary feelings are nothing compared to what is on the other side of, your comfort zone. So those are the major things. Like you can out logic your emotions. Like if you're good at it, you can do it very easily, but you have to be able to separate your emotions from your actions. You have to be able to take action with however you're feeling on the inside. So from fear to faith, like, hey, I'm feeling this fear, but I have faith in myself. I can make it through.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my thoughts.
I love it. I love when you're on our calls. Please come every week.
I have a
Thanks.
question. We're talking about all the positivity on the other side of fear. Has anyone had an experience where they took the fear step and then it resulted in something that they did not want?
No.
Or worst
Only
case
because it's
scenario?
only gonna you're always gonna make it out. So even if the next thing isn't fantastic or it doesn't get you where you want, like there's always a way to make it better, I think. And unless there's somebody on the call that I just don't feel like people who are on this call live the kind of life where they allow their circumstance to just keep getting worse. Unless you hit rock bottom and then you're just gonna figure out how to get out. But I don't know. Maybe that's just my mindset. Like I just can't fathom even whatever that worst case scenario is actually coming true and you not having a way to get out.
Were you gonna say something, Ray?
Yeah, I feel like with that, it depends on your focus because I'm more like you, Gracia. I'm not the automatically go to the positive as the first exact thing that comes to your mind when something happens. So if I wanted to, I could focus on the negative in everything. But I've trained myself, like I know that positivity is not the first thing coming to my mind, but I'll definitely make it the second. But if I wanted to focus on a negative portion of whatever risk I'm going to take, it's one of those things where how much are you searching for a silver lining? Because you can
Mm,
objectively take any one thing and turn it into the worst version of it just by the adjectives that you use to describe it. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but that's what comes to my mind with all that.
feel like that's exactly it, right? That's it's perspective all the time. All the time, no
Mhm.
matter what it is. I feel like that's you said it like perfectly. It could get worse for sure. And if your perspective is the type that didn't go well or that sucks, and now what? I learned this, and next time I won't do that. And not that you want to welcome it, but how could this possibly get worse? So it can only be up from here. So I think perspective makes all of the difference. And remembering that you have the choice in your perspective.
I
100%.
I think sometimes the issue too is that we have a certain picture in our head and we want it to go that specific way. And we think sometimes that if it doesn't look exactly how we pictured, then
It's
we think it,
negative.
yeah.
Here's an
I,
The
ex
gap in the gain.
would
I
you
Hmm.
got
say, Gracia?
I'm thinking of an example now because I was I'm sitting here brainstorming, trying to think of what I'm trying to go with. And I understand everyone what you guys are saying, but now here's what I'm thinking. Like somebody has some kind of health issues. They go to the doctor, and obviously nobody wants to hear the worst news from the doctor. But for some reason, you have faith that it's just something light, it's nothing bad. But then you go in and you get those bad news. So now that fear, what your worst fear was, just came true. So that's what I'm saying. So it happens, but then it depends on the person of how they will move forward from that. So I totally understand what you're saying, Monica. But like, there's people like, for example, they are diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately, and some people will make the biggest changes in their life to try to heal themselves and get better. And some people will be like, "This is it," and they'll keep living that same pattern of life because they've accepted it and they're just like whatever. So it's like it depends on the person of how they did it. They were scared, they got the results, and they just let it run their life versus someone who's scared, got the bad result, but they looked at the positive in it. Maybe they didn't get completely better. Maybe they didn't cure themselves, but they changed their habits. They try to live more life. They try to laugh more. They try to live family, and they made the best out of the end. But it's still, damn, that's what I didn't want, and it happened. So now what? And it depends on the person on that point, is what I feel here.
How you answer that now what is going to determine it. Because some people are going to be crushed by whatever devastating news they just got, and some
Hmm.
people are going to be unburdened by it.
Yeah.
I
And
So
agree.
they
that's a
make the
good
decision to
example.
live their life the way on their terms, however long they have left.
Exactly. It's always a now what question. I mean, it's like what we talked about from the very beginning. It's always, okay, worst case scenario, now what? Or I'm afraid, now what? You've thought of the worst case scenario, now what? It's always now what? Because one, I want to go back to that, what you said at the beginning of like, that expectation of, oh, I was expecting it to be nothing. Okay, that was your first fuck up because you shouldn't make an expectation about something you don't know. Right? Your first thing should be like, no matter what happens, I'm going to take the positive from it. I don't if that's how you move through life, nothing that comes at you is going to be that hard of a hit because it's always going to be like, no matter what comes at me, I'm going to make the best of the situation. I'm going to grow from it. I'm going to become a better person. So even if you went to the doctors or you're waiting for your test results to come back and you're like, I hope it's nothing. But even if it's worst case scenario, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to start living this life like I have one day left, which means I'm going to talk to everybody I care about. I'm gonna go to Hawaii. I'm gonna do all of the things that I thought I had 30 years to do, and now I have a week, a month, whatever the heck it is, and I'm going to make this the most rich situation possible. And thank God I know I'm about to die, because now I can really knock stuff out, versus not knowing and thinking that you have 30 years. Like, thank God I know. Thank goodness I figured this out. And when people think of it like, oh, I got this like horrible diagnosis and now I can't, I wish I had never gone to the doctor. So why? Think about the gift that you've just been given. You can make the most of whatever time you have left, and or try to heal yourself, like whatever it is, like just do what you can with what you have. And that knowledge alone, even if it's not great news, is knowledge and power to make different choices. So it's all perspective.
Yeah, that was good.
And I
I
think
don't,
it's literally like scientifically proven. Like the people who look at it differently, who take on that positive perspective, tend to end up living longer than the diagnosis, or, like all of those things make a difference versus the people who just submit themselves, because that, yeah, depending on how woo you want to get, there is the placebo effect, right? Of all of a sudden I'm going to start believing that I can get better and I can live longer than what they're telling. There's studies that show people have actually done that. So the power of your mind is immeasurable, I feel like.
I always find that so interesting because I feel like it's not something that people recognize or really truly understand the power that we have in our mind. But I've heard studies too of you have two test groups and they're both drinking like McDonald's milkshakes or whatever. And the one group's told like, oh, this is so healthy for you. It has all these nutrients and we put this and that in it, whatever. And then the other group is told, oh yeah, it's just a regular milkshake, blah, blah, blah. And the people that think they're getting the nutrients, they actually show physical like health improvements. They lose weight, they're doing all the stuff like, and you're like, what the heck? It's interesting because that's literally applied to everything in our life. Like the way that how we speak of our circumstances and the things that are going on around us, like we really do shape our reality.
Yeah.
I like to piggyback off of that. I don't know if anybody in all of your real estate fund that y'all do, if anybody is part of KW, but like obviously I'm like ingrained in that. So there's like the bold laws that they always talk about. And bold is like this really high intensity, like coaching and really mindset based. And one of the bold laws that's existed for a long time is what you focus on expands. So it's really just what you're putting your mind to. And if nothing else, like even in the world, like if things weren't actually like if things weren't actually showing up better because of what you were telling yourself, you're, if nothing else, you're training your brain and you're almost experiencing like a positive version of confirmational bias because you're looking for the things that are reinforcing what you're telling yourself.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, and
exactly.
that goes right in line with what Carolyn just said. And thank you for sharing that. But she said that her grandma was told that she had cancer, and she said, I do not have cancer. I will cure myself, and I don't and will not have cancer. And Carolyn said, of course, her support system was strong. It allowed her to believe that. But it's crazy, like the things that we're capable of. And again, like we said, it really goes back to who you're surrounding yourself with. Because in anything, any venture that you want to try, if you're sharing things and you have one group of people that are like, oh, that'll never make money, or why are you doing that? Or you could spend your time elsewhere better, whatever, versus being around people that are like, that's such a great idea. How can I support you? How can I share what you're doing? Yeah, exactly. Gracia said goes back to having faith over fear. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And being in an environment that supports that. So having the people, I was hoping that was, yeah, I was going to ask, is she good with cancer now? But I assumed that since you shared that she was, so that makes sense. But yeah, just a lot of it is environmental. And so being around people who support you, or recognizing that you're not going to get that support from those people. So finding it from books or podcasts or whatever. It doesn't always have to be like an actual human being, but just feeling like it is possible makes such a big difference. And if no one has, or if any of you haven't read You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza, I highly recommend it. It literally just is a book, obviously with stories from him, but it talks about all of the studies they've done, where even back in the day, there was a nurse who ran out of morphine and I have no idea what war, so I'm not going to pretend like I know. Some war, nurse slicing people open, soldiers being injured, and she had run out of morphine, or the doctor ran out of morphine. So she didn't tell him that she just filled it with saline and pretended like it was morphine. And none of them screamed. They acted like they had gotten pain medicine. Like they acted like it was just like they had morphine, because they believed they did. And what? How is that even possible? But it happened. It's a legitimate study. And the power of our mind and the power of belief is, like I said, immeasurable. And the more that we believe in its positive power, because like we were just talking about that lady, the joke, like the meme of all the million things that could have gone wrong with her husband, like our mind is so powerful to have done that in such a short period of time. If you wielded that power into something more positive, into all the possibilities, it has the power is there to do either. So why not always, or try to always choose it to go towards the positive?
I love it. Sweet. So yeah, I'm gonna get the music ready for the meditation.
So
Unless anyone else has anything to add. I'm trying a new one, so we'll see how it goes. See.
so let's get into a comfortable seated position with your back straight, feeling yourself get a little bit taller. Feel your shoulders drop down. Take in some deep breaths. Filling your body with fresh, confident air. And when you exhale, releasing any fear, any doubts, anything that wants you to play small. Any limiting beliefs or expectations about what you can and can't do. With each breath, I want you to imagine yourself as a tree. You are strong. You are tall. As you continue to breathe, picture what kind of tree you are, what your trunk looks like, whether your bark is smooth or bumpy. I want you to imagine your branches. With each breath, you're expanding. You have new leaves, new branches. You're sturdy. You're steady. But as the wind blows, you're also flexible. want you to imagine that as this tree, you feel no fear. No matter what weather comes your way, you will stand firm, strong, and secure. Your roots are deep. You change with the seasons, knowing that each spring you will have new leaves form, new buds, and you will continue to grow stronger, taller. Your branches and your bark tell the story of your life and all the storms you've been through, all the seasons, and just like all old wise trees, you are beautiful. You are admired. There's a quiet confidence. I want you to imagine yourself as this tree. Whenever you have a moment of doubt, whenever that fear kicks in, imagine yourself as this steady, strong tree. No matter what winter brings, spring is coming. Then summer, you'll be blooming. In fall, you'll be colorful and gorgeous. And whether it's windy or raining, you stand tall. Having faith that no matter what happens, you will be here. You will bend with the wind. Your roots will grow deeper, just like all the lessons you have learned. You will grow stronger. Taking a deep breath in, just to lock in the vision of yourself, of your tree. Feeling grounded, connected. Like with each call, I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Jackie and I appreciate each and every one of you. The light in me sees the light in each of you. Namaste. And if you feel comfortable, stretch your arms out like the branches of your tree, bending a little to each side, wiggling your fingers and your toes, and opening your eyes to come back to the room with us.
Awesome. I feel good.
Mhm.
What'd you think of that sound?
It was good. I liked it.
Okay, cool.
Relaxing.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, guys, great conversation. I hope you guys got something out of it. I know it's an interesting topic, but I hope you guys, as you go through the rest of your week, if you get that feeling of fear, I hope that you can reframe that into excitement. And if there's anything that we can help out with, let us know. Post in the Facebook group. If you guys need anything, we're here for you. And yeah, I'll finish the week out strong.
Yeah, definitely. If you need some encouragement, let us know. You got this.
Sweet.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ladies.
guys.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys have a great night.
You too.
We'll see you next week.
Good night, y'all.
All
Yep.
right, we'll
See
talk
you
later.
guys.
Bye.